that's on. All right. Aloha there. This is Darci Frankel coming to you live here from my home office. Some of you who don't know me, I am a cleansing and rejuvenation specialist, the owner of Hanalei Day Spa here on Kauai, and longtime Ayurveda practitioner. Today I'm going to be talking about the five languages of apology. Why? In honor of couples everywhere, relate all relationships, and Valentine's Day is coming up soon. So I wanted to do things and share with you ways to enhance your relationships and make them even more juicier in the days leading up to Valentine's Day. Now, yesterday I posted a short video all about my couples communication ritual. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and find that on my YouTube channel or my Facebook group. But today we're going to be talking about the five languages of apology. Why are we talking about this? It's a little crunchy, it's uncomfortable to talk about apologies. Well, it's not if you will ever accidentally step on someone's toes. I mean, maybe if you're a monk all the way up in the Himalayas, you will never step on anyone's toes, figuratively or literally. But if you're a real live human being, we accidentally say things that other people get hurt by sometimes. It's just part of being human. So it's not if that'll ever happen. It's when we do that, when we make a mistake in relating, and what do we do next that's really important. Now, that's what we're talking about today. So I was just on a call with a dear, long time friend of mine, and we were talking about this subject, and it was so profound and hit home so much that I just realized I wanted to share this with you. So today I'm talking about the five languages of apology. So this is not my work, but it is my experience. And I'll share with you. Let's see, it's from this book called Gary Chapman, The Five Languages of Apology. And I'll also share with you a couple of stories about how I use this in real life. So stick with this, and you'll hear amazing story about how someone was so angry at me, and I was literally shaking. And I shared the five languages of apology, and this person immediately shifted on a dime from being so angry and like stink eye. You know what stink eye is? If you live in Hawaii, you know what stink eye is. So I'll share that story in a minute. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about relationships relating and accidentally making a mistake. Again, it's not if we ever make a mistake, it's when we make a mistake. And then what comes next, right? So, have you, and I'll ask you some questions throughout this video as well. Have you ever made a mistake in a relationship? And then how did you feel after you made that mistake? Did you feel ashamed? Did you want to just ignore the whole thing? Did you get angry at that person? Did you, I don't know, you could leave some messages in the comments if you want to about how you felt after you made a mistake. It's super helpful because other people learn from our experiences. So, how did you feel after you made a mistake? And then the next question is, what did you do? Did you lean in? Did you run away? Some people are conflict avoidant. It's just how they learn to deal with life. And some people really lean in. You know what? I want to make sure that everybody could hear me. I'm using a mic. Um, so I hope everybody can hear me. Leave me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I can see that instantly. I can't see the comments. So I want to make sure that you hear me. All right. So what did you do? How did you feel after making a mistake? Now, the next question is if you were on the receiving end, how did you feel when somebody was a little clumsy in relationship with you? Did you get angry? Did you feel sad or hurt? Now, what did you tell yourself? Did you tell yourself, oh, they're going to have to work really hard to make it up to me? Did you tell yourself, they don't care, they don't love me, they don't fill in the blank? What do we tell ourselves when someone makes a mistake in a relationship? That's really important. It's really important what we tell ourselves, the stories that we tell ourselves, the things that we make up around these accidents. All right. So now I'm going to launch into the five languages of apology. And the first thing I will say is that I am not, do not endorse, I'm not a paid affiliate of Gary Chapman's. I just love this work. And I've actually used it in our workplace at the Honolulu Day Spa and my businesses to really had great experiences. Now, this is based on the five languages of love that came first. If you've ever heard, who's heard of the five languages of love? So the premise is that we all have different languages of love and apology. And if, for instance, so the five languages of love are gifts, quality time, acts of service, touch, and words of praise and appreciation. Now, if my language of love is words of praise and appreciation, and someone's giving me touch or quality time or gifts, how am I going to feel? I'm not going to feel 100% met. Similarly, if my love language is gifts and somebody always is touching me, and I'd be like, I might have the story that that person is too touchy feely, right? And so the premise is that we tend to give our language of love to others. However, if they have a different language of love or a different language of apology than the one that we speak, how do we have the experience of being loved? So we want to really make sure that we're speaking others' language of love and others' language of apology. Now, let's see. So, for instance, in my workplace, I use this and I try to give everybody their language of love. I remember once we focused on one of the languages of love each week. It was really, really fun, and we all just felt so much love. And to me, that's what Valentine's Day is all about. It's really about celebrating love, celebrating relationships of all different kinds. And what can you do to celebrate a relationship? You can listen, you can apologize, and we could speak someone's language of love. So, now I'll talk a little bit about making mistakes and the five languages of apology. Just wanted to give you a little background first. So first of all, we all make mistakes. It's human. It's going to happen. Again, it's what we do after that that is really important. So you make a mistake. Do you bury your head or do you walk away from a whole relationship just because you made a mistake? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we should all get good at apologizing. I really believe that. In fact, I tell people you should start a therapy fund for people for your, excuse me. I tell parents you should start a therapy fund for your kids when they're born. We start a college fund, so why not start a therapy fund? Because we're going to make mistakes. It's inevitable. It happens. Alrighty. So when you make a mistake, you want to start to employ the five languages of apology. And if you don't know what somebody's language of apology is, just do that all five. Now, a word of caution, be humble about it. You can't just say, I'm sorry, get over it. You can't just say that. If you've hurt somebody's feelings, they're hurt. So you want to try to step into their shoes, right? And you want to try to imagine what somebody might feel like. So the first language of apology is literally saying, I am sorry. It's expressing regret. I am sorry. Now, again, you can't do it fast. You can't do it without feeling. You have to say, I'm sorry. You have to say it and actually mean it. Just trying to make sure that everybody can hear me. Going into this whole thing. Can you hear me? Can you give me a little thumbs up if you could hear me? Alrighty. Okay, I got a thumbs. All right, great. All right. So the first language of apology is expressing regret. I just want to make sure I get them all. I'm going to do them in order for you. Now, the second language of apology is accepting responsibility. So when you make a mistake, you want to accept responsibility. And that might actually, so accepting responsibility is the second language of apology. I made a mistake. I was wrong. I'm sorry. So for me, again, I like to give all the languages of apology, or I find out somebody's exact language of apology and I speak that to them. But it's easier just to do all of them. So the first one is I'm sorry. The second one is I made a mistake. The third is what can I do? The third is making rest. The third language of apology is making restitution. What can I do to make it up to you? What can I do to make it right? And number four is genuinely, genuinely repenting. Genuinely repenting is oh yeah. So number four is genuinely repenting. Um, I will. I'll try to never do that again. I'll do my best to never do that again. And number five, which is sometimes really hard for people, is requesting forgiveness. So if there's one of these that are really, really hard, I recommend starting with that. Of course, giving an apology. I'm so sorry. Could you please try to forgive me? And so I'll share a story about using these five languages of apology in action. So remember I said to you that we use these in my workplace at Honolulu Day Spa. So one day I was over at the local beach, KA Beach, if you know Kauai. And it was just when they installed the lifeguard towers. And there were these places to park that were right up front. And I asked the lifeguard, I said, hey, they're kind of up there. I said, hey, do you mind if I put my car here? I have to go gather my friends who came off the trail. It should just take 5 minutes and I'll be right back and I'll move my car. I heard him say yes. I parked there, got my friend, came back, and when I came back, the lifeguard, remember he's way up there, he's looking at me and he's giving me stink eye. I started to shake. I thought, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I said, hey, thank you. What's up? Because he's giving me stink eye, right? He said, why did you park there? I can't believe you parked there. Everybody else started to park there and block everybody and block the whole way in and way out. He was angry and he was telling me he was angry, and I'm literally shaking. Well, I took a deep breath just like that. I felt my feet on the ground and I said to him, remember I said if one of them is really hard for you to say, then use that. So I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. I heard you say yes. Could you try to forgive me, please? And this man, huge, big man, glaring down at me, giving me stink eye, went from little lightning bolts coming from his eyes to, oh, yeah, of course, in a flash. I couldn't believe it. I, I couldn't believe my eyes. I said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And again, I'm so sorry. I honestly heard you say yes. I never would have parked there. Thank you so much for accepting my apology and forgiving me. And I went on my merry way. That was during the time that we were doing the languages of Excuse me, my nose is tickling. That was during the time that we were doing the five languages of love at work. So it was really fresh in my mind. And so it just shows you these five languages of apology really work, but you have to be super humble about it. So they are, I am so sorry, apology. I made a mistake. What can I do to make it up to you? I'll try to never do that again. And requesting forgiveness. Could you try to forgive me? So those are the five languages of apology. And I have a couple more questions for you. So when you make a mistake, do you sometimes, I wrote them down, so I'm going to refer to my notes. So when you make a mistake, do you sometimes feel so bad about making a mistake that you have a hard time apologizing? Do you sometimes feel so ashamed that you feel that you can't even talk about it? If so, I'd say this is really good medicine for you. You probably have some other, experiences around shame and humbly asking for forgiveness and humbly making apologies might be really good medicine. I highly recommend it. The next question I have is, do you tell yourself a story? Do you have an interpretation when someone gets mad that they're too much or they're too sensitive or they should just get over it? Or do you think that your mistake is so big they'll never forgive you? Do you think that you might have done something so awful that you can't possibly ask for forgiveness? So think about it and lean in. I'm going to read to you the exact languages of apology. The first one is expressing regret. Number two is accepting responsibility, making restitution, genuinely repenting, and requesting forgiveness. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, I was naughty. I would stay out late, later than my curfew. And I don't know, I felt like I was grounded all the time. And it was hard for me to ask for forgiveness. And we didn't talk a lot about forgiveness in my family until about 10 years ago. And this exact number five was so healing for me when I discovered that about myself. And so when I looked up at that lifeguard and I said, I am so sorry I made a mistake. Can you please try to forgive me? It came from a very humble place. And there was a lot of feeling behind that. And it was so healing when he looked at me and he shifted on a dime and he said, of course I'll forgive you. I was so shocked and surprised. And to this day, it was just such a beautiful healing. And I look back and I see in my family how that was a little bit of a gap, but we learned and we healed from it. So, what ways can you bring this healing to your relationships, to your family? Which of the languages of apology are feel really profound to you? Which do you feel are like, I could never ever say that. I can never ask for forgiveness. Well, you have nothing to lose. Really. Except maybe a little bit of pride. And to be honest, you're worth it. They are worth it. Relationships are everything. So go repair some relationships and let me know how it works out for you. If you mess up, that's okay. Just ask if you could redo it. Alrighty. So I shared with you the five languages of apology. I cried a little. And I'm really curious about how this is and will be for you. And I really want to encourage you to lean into your relationships. We spend so much time on our devices. We need this. We need one-on-one quality time with each other. We need to learn how to repair. We need to learn how to ask for forgiveness. So good job if you make attempts to do this. Let me know how it goes for you. Thank you so much for your time today. And I would love to get to know you. So share with me if you feel inspired. As we say here in Hawaii, aloha. Have a great rest of your day.